Ray Doherty is in Moville. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Great to chat to you, Ray. I'm feeling good, thanks. Right, okay. This is a really interesting story. Right, take us back to what happened. You're a familiar visitor to Italy, and it's in Italy that you made this discovery.
That's correct. Yeah, we go to Italy every year on our family holiday, and this year when we were in Italy, we would go snorkeling a lot, but we would go to a wee place where we would come familiar with them. We would have called it the Crystal Cove, and we would go down maybe in the afternoon, me and the three boys, Charlie, Alfie and Harry, snorkeling and pretending we were looking for treasure. That would have been my way of getting them to come down snorkeling with me, to get them out for a couple of hours and get them active. So we were down one day anyway, Greg, and we were snorkeling, and my youngest boy, Harry, turned around and he says, "Daddy, look, I found something." And we went over, and it was a wee silver tag, and it was actually still jammed between a rock. Wow. But we managed to get it out, and we went back to the apartment, and we were looking at it, and we found the name, Fred A. Waldeny, and we cleaned it up a bit, and then you could see the number on it, and there were a blood type number on it then too. Really? So we knew it was a dog tag. So we had it in the apartment, and I'd put it into my shaving bag, for when I was going home, and I'd forgot about it until last Monday night. I was lying in bed, and I said to my wife, "Jeepers, I must look at that dog tag and see if I can get a bit of research on it." So I went in and I got it out of the toilet, and I was lying in bed. So we got to a cemetery in Pennsylvania, in America, and we located the grave and a photograph of the grave. So I went down to my oldest son, Charlie, then, and I says, "Look, Charlie, I've tracked the grave down." So he would be good on the internet, and he turned around and he says, "Let me see it there a minute." So there was a Facebook, I think it was, and he put a post up there, and he said, "I'm going to put a post up to see if anybody connected to this man."
And before we get to that, Ray, I'm sure you sort of chatted to each other and were kind of supposing how these dog tags came to be where they were. Like,
yeah.
What were you before you sort of started the Facebook investigation? What did you conclude may have happened, or why they might have been there?
Well, I thought that because learning and history about the World War, you knew that the Americans were based in Italy at the time. Mm-hmm. And they would have been going through Italy. So we were back in the apartment, and for a few days we were trying to find out, and we were Googling and all, but we were coming to a dead end. It was like a wee adventure for the boys. They were really excited about it.
They found treasure. That's what you go snorkeling for. They found treasure, or what might appear like,
Yeah, that's right. And I turned around and assisted them, but then the novelty would wear off. Then after a few days, they kind of forgot about it, and the same as myself. So then last week,
did you think he'd been swimming, or did you think maybe he died in action, or like what was your working theory, Ray?
No, I actually thought he must have been based down there, and he was swimming.
Yeah. And
maybe he lost his dog tag when he was swimming.
Right.
So
okay, so let's get back to the Facebook post then. Sorry, I was just interested in your views as to what
you're okay. It's very interesting. It's unbelievable, to even think about it. But then, my oldest son Charlie, then he put the post up on the graveyard's Facebook page. Did anybody know this man, or does anybody know connections to him? And lo and behold, the next evening I was down in the kitchen, and Charlie came down and he says, "Daddy," he says, "look, these people have got in contact with me." And the story went from there. Then it was actually the daughter of the man, and she couldn't believe it. And she was over the moon. She actually turned around and couldn't believe that we took the time to investigate into it and then to contact them through the Facebook page. So Charlie said they wanted the photograph of the dog tag and how we found it and blah, blah, blah. So Charlie explained everything to them through the text. And then on, I think it was Monday night, the lady came back to us on Monday night and said, would we be open to doing a Skype or what do you call the other one?
Zoom?
Greg,
Skype or Zoom?
Or WhatsApp? Yeah. One of them, anyway. Would we be open to doing that? They really want to sit down and chat to us and talk about how we can get the dog tag back to them.
Because in a way, you've kind of plugged a bit of history. Their father returned from the war and went on to live his life in America, is from what I can read. But they had asked him, the daughter had asked him about the dog tags in the past. And their dad was so important to them too. They'd sat him down and videoed him recounting his stories. Do you know what I mean? Before he passed away, so they had some sort of a memory of that. So, in a way, finding finding these tags has answered that question that this lady Janet asked, or Christine had asked of this man.
It's unbelievable, Greg, when you think about it. To think that man would have served in Africa and then to serve in Italy, right? And then to have probably swam in the lake and messing about with all the soldiers and lost his dog tag. And then for an Irish family to find it 70-something years later and they bring it to Ireland. And now the connection you've got with England and getting it back to that family, it's like a real treasure to them. It's something that man would have had around his neck all the time.
Unbelievable. And you have this
beautiful
course. Yeah, it's fantastic. It really is. And the world is tiny, Ray, isn't it? It's tiny. Yeah. You're from Moville, out in Italy. Find these. Well, you did amazing research yourself. Then one post on Facebook, in the right place. The family note. Now you're going to be meeting them via video call.
We're going to be meeting them.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Which is brilliant.
Did you see the photograph Greg had sent in of him when he was the photograph of him joining them?
Yeah,
before he
like
actually.
A film star,
his dog tag. His dog tag would have been on him at that time.
Yeah,
onto the shirt.
So true.
Imagine that.
So true, and they're so important too. We know what former, pretty, especially in America, the dog tags have a very big significance to them. It's going to be a really interesting conversation because randomly you now are connected to this American family because you found something that's so important to them, and it's an amazing story, Ray. And the right person found it too. You see, that's what's interesting because another person, they could have just ended up stuck in that shower bag, or maybe even never made it as far as
away. Not even
not
even thought anything of it. Like,
so the right people.
The three boys now. Honest to God, Greg, the fun you would have had with them going snorkeling and doing these kind of things like it. They even actually interacts their brains, and it makes their brains expand, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It makes it like a fun game too.
Well, it's fun and it's learning, but it's also engaging with nature and exercise and all that stuff. Listen, Ray, it's a brilliant story. I'd love a catch-up maybe when you've talked to this family, if you're open to it, because
I will, surely. No,
it's a lovely story.
But before I go, Greg, can I turn around too and just say, do you know the 24th we're doing a big march in Dublin?
Yes, we're going to be talking about that very shortly. Yeah, go ahead, Ray. Yeah.
Well, could we just call out for everybody, as many people as we can, to attend it, because we do need everybody together now, because at the end of the day, we're all living in tough times, and the way they've left the people affected by Micah, I think that government are just... They're beyond the joke now.
And Ray, I think the sense is that, and we're seeing a protest that was organised for Dublin today, not very well attended at all. What happens is if the 24th one isn't well attended, it's a green light for the government to carry on whichever way they want to. It has to be a big crowd. All right, Ray. As I say, we're going to be talking about that.
You have to turn around and just think it's only one day of our lives, and that's what it does. Yeah.
All right, we're going to be talking about that later. By the way, Ray too. By the way, we're not.
Good man.
All right, take care, Ray. Ray Doherty from Moville. What a great story.